Greetings, everyone. It's great to be with you again. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for everything you do by way of learning and growing and being of service. Our presentation today is entitled Wounded in Love, Reborn in Love. In this regard, I want to show you a particular image that's quite pertinent to this topic. You'll see before you now a work by William Kerla. It's a Ukrainian heritage and a Canadian who's lived or incarnated from 1927 to 1977. And one of his books that was published year before he passed through transition or passed away was entitled Fields and subtitled Paintings. I consulted just recently in the research library, which I have access to, and it was in the oversized section of the shelves because it's a very large book, not in terms of thickness, but in terms of its height and its width. And Kerlik wanted the images of the fields to be portrayed in these long, high images compared to their width. And this is a work among 12 in the book. It's number 9. And they're named after various Ukrainian sayings or a biblical passage. This one's number 9 is after the following statement associated with a biblical passage in John 3:8. Everyone that is born of the breath of the Spirit. And we know that's, of course, a statement said to have come from the Master Yeshua, the Master Jesus, saying about how the Spirit moves like the wind and our capacity to understand how it works takes us deeper and deeper into life. You'll see how there's a figure, I wouldn't say not centered, very intriguing in their placement. It works quite well. Just off center, but we have an opening here in the gate, which also helps balance the picture as well as this opening in the trees past here. And then there's a great movement in the grass in through here, suggests the movement of the wind, the movement of the air, the Greek pneuma associated with the breath, but also in the Rosicrucian tradition, the vital life force that comes into us. You'll see the figure here, hands up. This is a scene not from William Kerlik's life growing up in the prairies in Canada, but a scene from when he was visiting Ireland. And well, let's zoom in on the person here because it's quite telling and quite related to our theme today. You see the person's turning inward as we will soon, and this work will help us attune with the cosmic. Strikingly, we have all this energy, the grass all around, suggestive of the inner force and energy within the person. Their hands raised as if receiving the divine energy, the life force all around them. Contrast with these beautiful touches of the red, the blue jacket, the brown pants, apparently the darker black shoes. Let's zoom in even more to get an even greater sense of this. Now, William Kerlik had in various ways a very challenging life for the half century that he was incarnated during the 20th century. He was growing up in his early years in substantial part during the Great Depression. He also had to pitch out and work very from a young age in the demanding aspects of farm life on the prairies. And it was a very enriching early life for him and very greatly enriched by the Christian tradition he grew up in and Ukrainian culture. But also he had a strong sense of the apocalyptic, a sense of impending doom. I'll talk a little bit more about in terms of Wounded in Love and Reborn in Love. Let's go back and zoom out again into the larger image of the work. The work says some have remarked about these, that they're meant to be contemplated. The figure grabs us at the same time we sense the vastness. We sense in a way what Rosicrucians and mystics traditionally would call the microcosm, the individual being here, and the holy temple of the body. But at the same time, what one would call the mesocosm, the immediate environment and surrounding, and then the entirety of creation, the entirety of the universe, suggested by the vastness of the sky and the heavens above, the macrocosm. And we'll work with these concepts and their law of correspondence between the microcosm and the macrocosm when we ascend to the heights of the celestial sanctum. Now, inspired by this work and by an artist who had a tumultuous life, wounded in various ways, he found his artistic expression, spirituality, very healing, and we'll bring this up in our presentation in various ways. The blue and the touch of red, the hands raised, the green and the blue, and the enriching heavens above us is a very evocative work of the divine energy within us. And the great motions and actions and vibrations like the grass whirling around before us. Having taken in or drunk in this work, been enriched and ennobled by it, in a way leading back to the attunement that William Kerlick had in his cosmic impressions to do this work, his inspiration. It guides us too in a universal way to our own deep experience of all that is about us and within us. I invite you now to meditate with me. Let us rise up into the cosmic together. Begin. I invite you to close your eyes. Let go of the cares of the day. I assure you, after this period of meditation, this presentation, we'll come back to whatever we need to do in our daily life, being recharged, being all the more competent. And part of the mastery of life is the mastery of the breath, never to be underestimated. Many of our Rosicrucian monographs talk about the breathing, various aspects of what we're about to do. In fact, during a meditation period, we'll apply over 40 Rosicrucian laws and principles. Some of them I'll mention explicitly. Some will be vigilant to be aware of. And as we know, we're more able to apply. And if you're comfortable in your chair, or if you wish to lie down or be situated in some other position, main thing is if you can breathe in an unencumbered way and just enjoy the gentle rhythms of the breath. Just like the figure in the field with their hands raised, breathing in the richness, the land and the sky and the air all about them. Feeling the sunlight suggestive of the great invisible sun within us will soon contact and revive. Just continue to enjoy the gentle rhythm of the breath. If you find your mind wandering at any time during this meditation period, just lovingly and gently bring it back to the great incoming and outgoing of the breath. Like standing at a lake shore or a seashore and the lapping in of the waves. A great sense of the cosmic keyboard that this Rosicrucian speak of, that everything manifests through vibrations, even ourselves, on higher and higher octaves as the vibrations double with each octave. So to our breath is a vibration. Everything going on within us now is that we become increasingly sensitive to our vibrations, characterized by number and geometry. So well spoken of in our Rosicrucian heritage through the Pythagoreans and Pythagoras. The back of everything is number. Deep divine archetypal patterns that we're increasingly coming into our meditation practice and growing up in life. And I invite you to be comfortable for you to breathe deeper than usual and take in even more of the vital life force, the vitality of life. Feel the great tingling effect starting in our extremities of the toes and the fingers, having a wonderful tonic effect. Not the tingling that is colloquially known as pins and needles where there's lack of oxygen, but just the opposite as we breathe deeper. Fill our diaphragm and our lungs with air. Feel the rejuvenating effect. As we breathe a little deeper than usual, comfortable for us, I invite you also to extend your exhalation longer than your inhalation. That extended exhalation longer than inhalation. You may wish to make it on the following the octave of 1 to 2. The duration of your inhalation being 1/2 the duration of your exhalation. Whatever's particularly comfortable for you. But I think you'll find that something wonderful happens. And even though we've experienced it many times, we can keep coming back to it afresh, living each moment afresh, the way being reborn each moment, remade each moment. The wonderful thing that happens is that we feel the relaxation response, the stimulation of the great vagus nerve that we learn about in our Rosicrucian weekly lessons. If you're a healthcare professional, you may know much about the vagus nerve. You increasingly know the randomized controlled trials, how it works in its healing effect, balancing effect, things that the Rosicrucians have known down through the centuries. That relaxation response we can spiritualize as calmness, tranquility, and imperturbability. That stimulation of the vagus nerve leads to what is technically known as autonomic balance, the great balancing of our dual system of sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. In a way, as we guide ourselves through life and work to have autonomic balance, we enter into a state of enlightenment. Our heart rate slows up. We're able to do more with less. We're able to take longer breaks between beats and all that we do in service. As our heart rate slows up, something else happens of a wondrous nature. We move into an optimal heart rate variability. The duration of our heartbeats varies comparing to what we need to do to guide ourselves through life. In a way, it's like riding a bicycle down a street. We have the two handlebars on the left and right. The law of duality guide us. The autonomic nervous system is like that bicycle we're riding through our life. Sometimes we emphasize or steer a little more with the parasympathetic nervous system, sometimes more with the sympathetic nervous system, as the need is required for our mastery in living, our harmonious living. As we have that different balancing of the autonomic nervous system, our heart adjusts in the duration of its beat. This is part of the great value of the heart as a psychic center, a great seat of emotions, a great seat of love and well-being that we'll draw on in our meditation period in our presentation today. Just continue to enjoy the gentle rhythm of the breath. Feel with each incoming air the increasing presence of the vital life force within us, the increasing presence of the divine within, the master within, the inner self, our true nature and guide in life. Not as a theoretical principle, though it is that, but as a lived experience, a healing, making whole experience. And with the extended exhalation, you may wish to let go, increasingly surrender, and be receptive to this experience, surrendering to the divine within. Increasingly experience not only as a theoretical proposition, but our physical bodies as a holy temple for the mighty master within. Just the thought of these matters recharges us, moves us towards the divine within. This way we can be more fully ourselves. As we continue to meditate, soon we'll rise to the heights of the celestial sanctum, following the instructions of the Rosicrucian booklet Liber 777. Give you resources on that towards the end of this presentation. I invite you to join with me now as we continue in this meditation and saying the following prayer and invocation. Applying the law of purification and the law of cosmic attunement. We can say together now, may the divine essence of the cosmic infuse my being and cleanse me of all impurities of mind and body, that I may enter the celestial sanctum and attune in pureness and in worthiness. So mote it be. Now let us sense or picture ourselves rising up from our home or office or building that we're in, rising up over the building, the house, even our neighborhood, and now even our local geographic area, be it a rural area or a village or a town or a city. Let us keep rising up higher and higher, enjoying the exhilaration of the ascent under the auspices of the Rose Croix, the Rose Cross, and the divine within. Enjoying the ascent, the exhilaration of rising up. Now up over our province or state, even our great nation or country, and seeing down below the wondrous landforms and weather systems, the great system and order of the universe, the Rosicrucians refer to as the cosmic, universal intelligence back of the cosmos and universe, and all natural and spiritual laws as we rise higher and higher, faster and faster, now over the continent where we dwell, and even the hemisphere. And now we take in the beautiful blue jewel of the earth, rotating about its axis. And we see this beautiful white, pure satellite revolving about it, the earth, our moon. As we continue to rise up higher and higher, we sense the beautiful elliptical orbits demonstrated to us through the Rosicrucian students, Sir Isaac Newton. We see the great fiery ball of the sun, our local star. We pass the outer reaches of our solar system, now moving way beyond the speed of light as we transcend space and time, getting to enjoy the exhilaration of the ascent faster and faster through the great arm of the Milky Way galaxy where we live, sensing its great rotations about its center. There's a huge black hole that helps balance the galaxy as we pass other black holes, smaller in nature, that also likewise apply the law of balance to our universe. And let's pass right out of the Milky Way galaxy, past myriad stars and stellar phenomena, and quasars and pulsars and nebula, and the cosmic web connecting the galaxies and the stars as we rise higher and higher past other galaxies and nebula, enjoying the exhilaration and sensing increasingly the vastness of the universe. Its great unity, the very etymology of the word universe, but also as a cosmos, from the Greek word, the system and order of the universe. And as we rise higher and higher, you increasingly apply the law of correspondence, for as we go into the vastness, great heights of the universe, we go deeper and deeper within the mini universe within us, increasing the presence of the divine within. the deepest part of our nature. Let us continue to go faster and faster, sensing now this stupendous order and harmony and music of the spheres, the most subtlest form of music that all creations back on earth, even the artwork we began this process with, based on. And sense even now that the universe itself is one unified body, is rotating about a great axis spoken of by mystics and philosophers since ancient times as the cosmic axis. And when you sense its presence, speed towards its midpoint, the very center of the cosmos. And when you reach that point, slow up and let us take in with awe and wonder the beauty and harmony of the temple of the divine all about us, mirroring the holy temple that we are. And the holy temples are sacred temples on earth. And while there's great motion all about us, there's a great sense of stillness and harmony within us as we apply the law of cosmic attunement again and the law of silence. And yet in this silence, there's great dynamic action going on for our healing and well-being that will gather and radiate to others soon. At this time, I invite you to apply further the instructions of the Rosicrucian booklet, Liber 777, to picture your personal sacred space, be it a temple on earth, the great awe-inspiring view of the divine temple all about you, an inspiring place in nature back on earth, such as a view over a lake or sea, or a high vantage point from a hill or a mountaintop, or a sacred grove, all suggestive of the handiwork of the divine. Fill in the sights and sounds, make it real, make it vital. Fill all your psychic impressions in and the overall spiritual upliftment of it at this high point of consciousness, the center of the cosmos, the center of the being, at our celestial sanctum. Continue to complete your mental creation, your visualization of this sacred space. Soon I'll suggest when we can release this visualization, this mental creation, into the subconscious mind and into the cosmic mind. You may wish to picture others on this conference call with us and other seekers, Grand Lodge and Supreme Grand Lodge officers of the Rosicrucian Order conducting a sacred convocation at the heights of your celestial sanctum. Beautiful symbols all about you, maybe in stained glass, the Rosicrucian laws and principles. Incense burning, symbolizing the law of transmutation we're undertaking now. Visible and invisible masters before us and with us. Inspiring and guiding us just like the master within. And when you're ready, I invite you to release your visualization, saying with me, if it pleases the cosmic, it is done. So mote it be. And let us dwell in peace profound, the heights of the celestial sanctum, the presence of the divine within, our true guide in nature and life. Well, we're at the heights of the celestial sanctum. I invite us to soon undertake another spiritual operation of the work and worship of the Rosicrucian Order AMORC. I invite you to join with me now in the working of the silent council, of the Council of Souls, the Grand Lodge of the Rosicrucian Order AMORC. Let us radiate love and well-being now from the depths of our being, from the depths of our heart and mind, with the assistance of the divine within, radiating love and well-being to all those who have petitioned our Grand Lodge for guidance and healing. And let us radiate love and well-being to all those who have petitioned the affiliate bodies of the Rosicrucian Order AMORC for guidance and healing. And let us radiate love and well-being to all those you know who are in need of guidance and healing. And finally, let us radiate love and well-being to all sentient beings throughout the cosmos who are in need of guidance and healing. Just let the love and well-being flow from the depths of your being like a great searchlight going out throughout the cosmos. A great fountain flowing with water, filling the universe. Moving out at a tremendous rate like we rose up to the heights of celestial sanctum with great rapidity. Just let it flow out. I think at a certain point you'll find that it even speeds up and you know you're reaching those in need. Having at first used great spiritual force to allow this great radiation to occur, I think you'll find too that increasingly you can let go of conscious effort and just let it unfold. Let the great radiations of love and well-being flow forth, filling the universe, reaching all in need as our birthright, and part of our mission in life, applying the law of cosmic attunement, the law of service, the law of humility, and more. Soon we'll formally conclude this period of sending metaphysical aid, but we'll be assured that it will continue deep within our being as a way of life. And we'll continue our meditation from the heights of the celestial sanctum. I conclude this period, radiations, love, and well-being. In a formal sense, I invite you to say with me now, if it pleases the cosmic, it is done. So mote it be. And let us dwell a while longer at the center of the cosmos, at the center of our being, at this highest point in consciousness. Let our individual consciousness merge with the cosmic consciousness. Let us be the cosmic, the universal intelligence back of the cosmos. Let us experience as the cosmic experiences. Let us assume the cosmic now. Now, before we begin our descent from the heights of the celestial sanctum, let us undertake another spiritual operation of the work and worship of the Rosicrucian order AMORC. I invite us now to apply the law of gratitude, which, without even intending, intensifies the application of the law of cosmic attunement. I invite us now to radiate our gratitude and thanks to all those who have taught us well, and radiate our love and thanks to all those who loved us well, and radiate our love and well-being to all those who have sacrificed well on our behalf. Now, cognizant of this great privilege and birthright to ascend to the heights of the celestial sanctum and attune with the cosmic, let us begin our descent, going way beyond the speed of light, transcending space and time. We pass myriad stars and stellar phenomena, quasars and pulsars and nebula, enjoying the exhilaration of the descent, past the black holes balancing the universe, experiencing once again the great harmony of the spheres, divine inspiration, the deepest form of music. All the more cognizant now of the great system and order of the divine temple, as we see in the distance the great spiraling arms of our local home, the Milky Way galaxy. Let us plunge into the great arm where we dwell, past the myriad stars and asteroids and rogue planets and comets, cosmic web connecting the stars and galaxies. As we see in the distance the wondrous elliptical orbits of our solar system, the planets and their special effects, the great energy of the sun, the beauty of our temple of the earth. As we come back to the hemisphere where we dwell, our continent, a great nation or country, our province or state, our county, now our neighborhood. And I invite you to say with me this fallen prayer and invocation. May the God of my heart sanctify this attunement of self with the celestial sanctum. So mote it be. And let us continue to descend back into the home or office or building where we left off, however we're situated, just seated or lying down, and feeling remade, rejuvenated, re-energized, rested, all the more ready for the work and worship of the Rosicrucian order AMORC, now and always. Enjoying the great adventure of living in the mystical path. When you're ready, you may wish to stretch and fingers and toes of the holy temple, and arms, your legs, arching them back, the wondrous symmetry of this temple. When you're ready, you may wish to open your eyes, and we'll take in again the wondrous work of William Carlock and his gift to us. And we'll continue our presentation on Wounded in Love, Reborn in Love. Now, love is rightly much extolled by humanity and students on the mystical path. The AMORC teachings and the mystic way prepare us to know love's strength in myriad forms of expression, and will strike deep and thoroughly to test, reform, and ennoble us, as suggested by this inspired work of art before us, and as suggested throughout our meditation period today. Now, while it's true there are different forms of love and its ways of expression, some ways that may be love of more of a physical nature, a romantic love, love for family, for children, a love for one's nation, a love for one's environment, a love for the system and order in one's government, is spoken of by Plato in the Republic, but also that agape, that love, that unconditional love, that all-embracing love of the cosmic expresses through us, and we experience during meditation. In a certain sense, all those forms are love of that one stupendous love of the divine, and different capacities to know and understand. It's true in romantic relationships that experience this form of love. In that capacity, there can be both upliftment, but there can also be a wounding, a woundedness, or hurt in a loving relationship. It's something we often experience early on in our life, but it can also be experienced in various ways throughout our life. I mean, how we're learning and growing up and seeing the signs and the lessons and things. But in that hurt from the love or that woundedness that we've experienced in loving relationships, whatever form it may take, there's a great expansive lesson on multiple senses and in different forms on the mental, emotional, the physical, the psychic, and the overall spiritual. They all interrelate and teach us. Now, in that hurt, it's important for us not to remain stuck in it. Indeed, learn to be helpless and be disillusioned. There needs to be a letting go of illusion. Indeed, even the various phrase of the word disillusion suggests the key. We need to let go of the illusion, become disenchanted with it, disengaged with it. And that way, then there needs to be the next step into being the rebirth or reborn in love. We have the opportunity to go more deeply into life through both uplifting experiences as well as challenging, painful, or wounding experiences. Now, in the meditation we just did and the meditation you do daily, one of the great fruits of that is that we become more sensitive. And on the surface, one might think, well, I don't become more sensitive. That might mean I feel my pain more or my woundedness more. However, with meditation comes a great sense of wellness and well-being, the presence of the master within that's beyond any pain or hurt or beyond any illness and knows how to act. And a great sense of well-being and knows how to heal the wound, whatever form it takes. Also, in meditation, so sometimes indicate to us when we do it, it's a profound act of non-avoidance. And one may think, well, aren't you just sitting there avoiding life? Actually, far from it. Because you'll find as we let go, we surrender to the experience and dwell in the silence, applying the law of silence, we start to sense there's a tremendous amount of action going on. There's a tremendous dynamism. All the systems that form a unity the respiratory system, the immune system, the nervous system, the circulatory system, and many other systems of physical, psychic, and beyond nature are working like a great symphonic orchestra together in harmony. Also, we're not avoiding anything if that we need to deal with in our life, or there's certain challenging emotional issues or challenging things in our workplace or home life. We're not avoiding them during meditation. I think, well, how's that possible? You're sitting there in stillness. Whatever comes to mind, take note and let it go. We'll come back to it all the more competent, all the more with the master within to deal with it and discharge. Nothing's being avoided. This is one of the great lessons of letting go, surrendering, being receptive to the divine within. This is at the heart of being a human being, fulfilling our meaning and purpose in life, and being at one with the one. Or in mysticism, there's that expression of the direct experience of what is, no intermediaries, no priests. It's true, it's good to have teachers. We have the class masters weekly in our lessons. But their strength has come through, and their maturity has developed by their attunement with the master within. Being willingness to experience the wounds of living, but to be reborn, reconstructed, readapted in them. In our teleconferences, in our lessons, and I'll give you a reference to a particular article. It was in the Rosicrucian Digest. It appeared in 1965. The past imperator, Ralph M. Lewis, Mysticism in the Modern World. Very profound, wonderful article. There's a very succinct statement there about the 5 stages of mystical unfoldment that we've had some teleconferences on, where he talks about the first stage of awakening, coming into new and understanding, but also followed by a period of purgation or purification, some refer to as self-discipline. But then a stage from that preparatory stage of self-discipline, meditation, dealing with our wounds, there comes a great healing, illumination, being reborn in love. A great idealism is instilled. But that also sets us up for an even greater wounding, for a greater reformation, a greater even keeping our house in formation and form. Sometimes known as the dark night of the soul, or more poetically as the dark night of the soul. Not to be feared, because the great illumination and awakening we had was preparing us for all this. Come to the presence of the divine within, our true guide in nature. It's beyond any fear. It's beyond any ailment. It's beyond any suffering. It knows it is the great healer of any wounds, whatever form they've taken physically, mentally, emotionally, psychically, interactions with others. We also learn the great lessons of life, how to live in harmony, how to have less mishaps and crises in our life. But even then, these are great things built into existence where we learn and increase our capacity to love. And that dark night of the soul is followed by mystical union, where there's an increased and even continuous rapport with the divine within that we're coming into increasingly through our Rosicrucian lessons, our trials in life, our woundingness, interactions. All life in a way is like a great alchemical laboratorium. Our affiliate bodies are a special alchemical laboratorium that has been designed to help us evolve, learn, and grow, and perfect our nature in all forms of relations, interpersonal and all others. Now, it's true each stage of this 5 phases of mystical development I've just mentioned, they all have a piercing quality. The purgation period, there's a purging, there's a purification, there's a degree of sharpness in it, but it's greatly cleansing, greatly uplifting. And indeed, the obscure night, the dark night of the soul, can have intense sense of woundedness and the need to reform and heal from it in all senses. But even the awakening, the illumination, and the mystical union have a piercing, wounding quality, but it's one that is very uplifting. And you say, well, why would I need to be wounded in the illumination? Well, let's consider that. You know, for example, some of the great mystics of the Middle Ages, and I think of many of them women, for example, who were in France, the Beguines and others, but also later Teresa of Avila. They speak of the wound of love and being wounded by love. Recall, of course, Lorenzo Bernini's renowned Baroque sculpture, the XD of Saint Teresa that we had one of our teleconferences on, wonderfully portrays this experience of the woundedness. The angelic figure piercing with an arrow, Saint Teresa of Avila in her heart, and she knows the arrow coming in, because it has a tremendous pain, but also tremendous sweetness at the same time. And she knows that she's being reformed. As the cherubim figure draws back the arrow, she wants him to drive it in again. She wants to feel that ecstasy, that great sense of well-being, that great sense of healing that's being drawn forward. These are sort of surprising experiences that are symbolic, but they're also certainly physiological and psychic. And our carefully guided lessons in the Rosicrucian order take us through these and their various warm forms of expression. This reminds me that I know that the 13th century Persian mystic and celebrated poet Rumi, in his story in book 1 of the Masnavi, has a specific phrase that has gone on greatly. It's translated from the Persian as the light radiates there and heals. He was talking about the wound, our woundedness, that the light will come through it and heal us. Now, this wound is one of adjustment in our outer self, and to a degree in the subconscious as well, but not in the cosmic. Mind. And it's also an adjustment at the outer self losing its over dominance in our lives. This is a humbling and purifying experience that leads to our rebirth, and sometimes the experience of ecstasy, a deep sense of harmonium, a harmonious working together of the outer self and the inner self as one that we practice now and in the wake of our meditation and during our meditation today. Now, in the Rosicrucian tradition, we learn that pain is a signal. The pain and the woundedness is not to be feared. It's part of the great process of living and growing up. That, and also, by the same token, great well-being and upliftment is a signal too. Strikingly, we cry, as we've often noted, in both sadness and joy. And even strong pain and strong elation, enjoyment, can briefly feel the same. And even our facial expression can appear similar in these two contrasting states of great pain or great elation. In this, there's a subtle hint and sign to us. These two polarities suggest the experience of transcendence in unity, take us even deeper into living and beyond all suffering. In this regard, William Carlock, the artist that we spoke of earlier and saw his wondrous work of art, in his life, he underwent a great odyssey of healing. He suffered greatly in his mental health. We know this from his writings and the work that he did with health professionals and also the paintings. And he was an early forerunner in the raising of consciousness, how the process of artistic creation, the law of creativity, and spirituality through law of cosmic attunement are fundamental in healing, particularly his healing from mental health challenges. We also see this type of story of being reborn in love in various stories of literature. In a way, it's the one great story. But I take, for example, in literature, there are various examples. One is Charles Dickens's A Christmas Carol, where Ebenezer Scrooge was wounded in love and reborn in love, befittingly and symbolically on Christmas Day. His father was deeply wounded in love when his partner or wife, that is the mother of Ebenezer, passed away or passed through transition and giving birth to Ebenezer. His father, in his pain and grief, misguidedly blamed the baby Ebenezer. This blame in turn deeply wounded Ebenezer. In growing up and in his pain, he became hardened towards others. These causes gave rise to the effects that he was miserable and his life was largely meaningless. Except when Christmas Eve, Scrooge, or Ebenezer, was in effect initiated into the deeper meaning of life by three spirits, in part conceived by the author Charles Dickens through his awareness of the views of the Rosicrucian student Emanuel Swedenborg. Now, through Ebenezer's encounter with the spirits, he underwent a great review of his life and was required to face the consequences of his actions, but also learned he could undo some and compensate for his actions. This realization led to the unblocking, deep flow of love from within and being reborn in love. All the energy was being used to be who he was not was now freed up for caring and loving. All his highly developed business skills and acumen can now be constructively used for good and the healing of others. There is in this way a progression of how the will is handled in mysticism. I recall in this matter a Rosicrucian student that I was greatly fortunate to know as a mentor early on in this incarnation, who mentioned to me that in her upbringing, she did the will of her parents. But when she became married, she did the will of her partner or her husband. And then later she learned to go beyond that and do her own will. But even in that great development, she knew she was still living in a state of deprivation and woundedness. Finally, she surrendered and was receptive to the will of her true nature, the divine within, and was thereby fully herself, at one with the one, in healing to all, wounded in love, yet reborn in love. Before I conclude, I'll ask Karen to post in the chat for you some resources that you may wish to explore along with the weekly lessons we study in our home sanctum, and also to upload the PDF document that has all the resources there for you. So we've considered this topic of wounded in love, reborn in love. You're being embraced and ennobled by it. Indeed, we're called in this great learning and building up through our steadfast practice in our home sanctums, the study of our weekly Rosicrucian monographs, our daily meditation and Rosicrucian exercises, and making regular reviews of our life and our experiences, and always being vigilant to apply what we have learned for the well-being of ourselves and others in service. And thereby, in this manner, we are reborn in love in the mystical path. Thank you, everyone. It's great to be with you.